Just to give an example, like right now, we know that Raila and Nani and Ruth are together, blah, 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 the political cousins. Juicy, I was shocked when I talked about Raila, but my dad told me that nimekuwa Mkikuyu. You get it? So if you try to talk bad about the Raila unakuwa Mkikuyu. So my point is this. There's this space mulieka hivi time Morara alikuwa anaanza stories za public nini the civic education hizo za stall project. And I niliraise mkono but I didn't get a chance to talk because those days watu walikuwa wengi. Kuna wenye walikuwa napewa mic, watu wakaa small weeks ya sisi sikupata hiyo week. So I've been thinking like this. In almost every county, tuko na radio stations with our vernacular languages. Personally, I'm coming from Migori County, and in Migori County, we have so many Luo radio stations. So I've been thinking this way: what if? I know those radio stations they don't just give people space to talk. You have to pay for them. You have to pay it. Ili waku host, you do what you want to do. So my suggestion is this: what if in this the radio station that we have at the local grassroots. Unajua sahi tuko hapa Twitter, we are around 216 people. My parent is not listening to this. My mother, my grandmother, they are not listening to this. Na sahi unapata kuna hizi masola watu wanalipa hizi mdogo mdogo. Unapata mtu akienda kuchukua wanapewa radio kadogo. Na ukienda ushago utapata almost sana sana hii ya Sanki watu wengi wako nayo ushago huko wanasikiza hizo ma radio station hizo za vernacular language. What if youth comes with program? Hata kama ni kulipa, hizi ndio vitu watu wanafaa kuchangia. We have representatives in each constituency. You go to the auditor general page, get your constituency report, all the developments venye pesa imetumika, get a radio station, educate your people from home, from ushago. Unajua sahii hapa tunapiga kelele tukatoa Ruto nini, na watu wanapiganga kura ni hao watu wa mashinani. So mimi nilikuwa naomba hivi, instead of contributing, sijui you go check the stalls, project whatever, tuchague my youth constituency representative, tuombe space kwa hizo radio station, enda huko elimisha watu, waambie that MP unaona ukimpigia magoti ni yeye ndiye anafaa kupigia magoti. This is what your MP should be doing for you, and this is what you should expect from him or her. Make them watu wa ushago, they feel that they are the bosses to the leaders, but without that hatuta nini, itakuwa tu the same. Ikifika 2027 ndio hiyo ile civic education ulikuwa unasema hawajafikia, ndio hiyo Ruto amerudi. So bro, that was my request. Tafuta venye mnaweza pata hiyo nini, hiyo coordination. Radio station ikuwe Kameme, hizo za Kikuyu, Luo, Luya, Kalenjin, get people there. Tutafute sana sana, unapata hii saa 2 hadi saa 3 unapata watu wako shambani, but wakiwa shambani they have those radios, wako na radio wanasikia, na unapata hizo time unapata wameleta politician huko, they are telling them the same thing that they should not be repeating. So we want to give them new information. Let's get these people the information. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your speech. We have actually done quite a lot of work in these vernacular radio stations. You know, sometimes we never get really to say the things we've done. If I was to talk for myself, this week alone, I've done 3 radio stations. I began with Radio Citizen. Then I came and did Bahari FM. I did Bahari FM, I think, yesterday morning. If it's not yesterday morning, it's the day before yesterday. Itakuwa ni juzi asubuhi. Then tomorrow in the morning, I'm going to Mulembe FM. So I usually do these local radio stations because I know how powerful they are. And sometimes I also send people to these local TVs and local radio. For example, I know I sent someone to Ramogi, who is called Lochwia Tech. Nilimtuma Ramogi. So sometimes whenever I get these opportunities, I always pass it down to the youth to go and speak in these forums, in these local radio stations, and speak to Kenyans and see whether our parents can actually change the way they think. Now, I know Gen Zs, we think we are many, and it's true that we are many, but we also need to realize that there are Gen Zs who are in the village. And the Gen Zs who live in the villages and urban settlements versus the Gen Zs who are in urban areas, they think a bit differently. And the Gen Zs who are in the village almost think, like the older population rather than the Gen Zs who are urban. So how do we bridge that gap between the Gen Zs in the village and Gen Zs in urban for us to be just Gen Zs, all of us? For example, when Raila joined Ruto, maandamano haikuwa inafaa kuisha Kisumu if at all it was organic. Ilikuwa inafaa iendelee since we are tribeless. But ilipoisha, it shows that even in the Gen Z, there is a split of tribalism. And you saw, I was very disappointed to see some young people like myself, singing tribal songs even on TikTok. So sometimes it breaks my heart. I tend to think that we should be trying to be the ones showing that national appeal. But if tribalism is so strong that we can't remove it, then I'm ready to change my mind. Like I'm not having a fixed mind on this. I'm just asking, this tribalism thing, can we finish it? That's the question. If it's yes, how, when, and what does it take, and how practical is it? If we cannot finish tribal identity, probably because of African tradition or the needness of a human being to belong, whatever philosophical explanation you give to it, if we cannot finish this thing called tribalism, how do we convert it from negative ethnicity to positive ethnicity? Like, how do we change our tribal identity into positive ethnicity? And how do we hold leaders who come from our tribe accountable for things they do when they are given national leadership? For example, if I'm a Kalenjin and Ruto heads the nation and misleads it, what do we have within the community of Kalenjins to not praise Ruto, but rather ask him to be accountable to the Kenyan people and tell him, wewe unatuharibia jina ya Wakalenjin, tumetengeneza jina mzuri, can you please be accountable to the Kenyan people? Are we then able to retreat to our tribal cocoons, not for a bad thing, but for a good thing of holding leaders who come from our tribe to account? That is, if we can't fight it. So I'm open-minded. I'm just trying to think openly so that again we don't be delulu. Mnajua delulu, yani ile yenye tunajidanganya kwamba there is something we can do when there is nothing we can do. We now try to work within the practical and pragmatic possible ways of actually bringing change into our country without fighting our identity if it is too important to us. Odur, you are next. Odur. All right, since Odur is not here, Mzalendo.
Uh, Thank you so much, Morara. And every listener, I can see Linda is here, Ghost is here, and all other listeners. I'm so glad to be here, Morara. As youths, I will have to say that as youths, we must participate in politics and the governance of this nation. And Morara, I want to say that I'm very much happy for you. Morara, all of us cannot be leaders. That is why we have to have one leader. And that is why we have fronted you there to speak for us. So me, what I want to tell you, my dear brother from my neighboring county, when you get there, speak the things of the youth. Speak on our behalf. I was telling a fellow countryman today that if you think Raila Odinga has you at heart, my brother, you are very much mistaken. I have come to realize one thing, Mr. Morara, that the old goons, the old politicians who belong to the archives, they don't have us at heart. And that is why Raila Odinga has decided to desert Kalonzo Musyoka, a man who sacrificed his ambition in 3 general elections to support Raila Odinga. Even if Raila Odinga lacked every sort of humility, kurudisha tu shukrani, hata angesimama tu kwa fence bila kutuambia ameenda wapi. Yani mtu ana shelve his ambitions for you in 3 general elections, and then you betray him because of money, and somebody still thinks that Raila Odinga has them at heart. Mimi, I cleaned my house. I have known that it is about me to stand. I have changed my perception. I have changed my mentality, and I know one thing, that if I continue to behave normally, then in the next 7 years, William Ruto is going to treat me abnormally. So as a youth, I will stand up, I will participate, I will interrogate, I will vote, I will educate fellow youths, and if the worst calls for it, I will even hide my parents' ID if they must vote for William Ruto because Raila Odinga has said so. I will go and hide their national identity so that they don't vote for him. That is what I will do as a youth to ensure a person who has me at interest, at heart, wins this election. So, dear youth, do whatever it takes to ensure that we get into the next in governance. If you want to vie for an MCA, we will support you. Somebody like Salasia won from nowhere. He's an MP today. Morara can make it, Linda can make it, I Mzalendo can make it. The problem with us youths is that we want to be paid to vote. We want to be bribed to vote. Then after being bribed to vote, then this person mistreats you for 5 years. After 5 years, he comes with another narrative. Anakulipa tena, unampigia kura, anaenda anakunyanyasa kwa miaka 5. So tafadhali wanarika, shika mwenzako mkono. It is about accountability, it is about leadership. Ukiona huyo jirani yako akona nia akona maono yako ndani yake, amka asubuhi, mpigie kura. When you go to Facebook, market them. I had somebody say yesterday that I saw a group of jokers trying to beat William Ruto. I told him, yes, those group of jokers have my valid vote. I will wake up very early in the morning to vote for one of those jokers. And you will vote for William Ruto. And in the next 8 years, if he wins, you will be mourning with me. Akaniambia inataka tukutane. So dear brothers, as I close, tafadhali mimi ninawaomba, we have the numbers. Somebody has said that we need resources. Yes, resources are needed, but number one thing that wins elections are numbers. Numbers. We youths, we have the numbers. If we decide we want a youth deputy party leader, we say that we want a youth senator in Nairobi. We say that we are wiping out corrupt and bad governance leaders. We will do it with their money, whether they have the money, whether they have the what. Niliambia mtu nikimalizia Morara hivi ya kwamba kura ambazo zinaibwangwa ni zile kura ambazo mwingine ameshinda mwenzake na 100,000, 100,000. tukipiga kura ya hasira kama ile ilipigwa 202 ya kukataa Moi na Uhuru Kenyatta, William Ruto atakosa nafasi ya kuiba. How do you steal an election whereby umeshindwa na milioni 3? Unatoa hizo milioni 3 wapi? Utaziiba aje? So usiwache kura yako ilale ukisema ya kwamba hata nisipopiga kura Ruto atashinda. Amka upige kura. Election is won by 50+1. Hiyo kura yako moja tunahitaji. Remember, an election that has been won with over 1 million votes, he will never steal it. We have the numbers. Viva guys, we will do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mzalendo. We appreciate your contribution. I will not say anything. Manyasa John, save on time.
Thank you for the opportunity, Morara, Kebaso. Good evening, fellow Kenyans. Good evening, guys. To me, actually, one thing I want to talk about, it was about your alliance with the guys like Rigathi, but which actually we've already talked about it. But being honest, actually, forming an alliance with the Rigathi isn't a bad thing, but on the second part, it's a bad thing. It's like actually a sheep forming an alliance with the lions. Eventually, definitely one day you'll be eaten. That's not our way. That's not the way for the youth. We've been marginalized. We've been actually done all sorts of things. We've been called names, but we are trying to survive. Coming on the ground, actually, people actually are much more brave. When you look at the voting patterns, most of the youth haven't been voting actually wisely, not even voting. Most of the youth, we haven't been voting. But since 2002, most of the youth have realized their vote matters a lot. That's why you see actually during the revolution, we never done any civic education. We never did any civic education, but people came out. Why? Because people were tired. Uhuru was that drunkard guy because how people actually perceive him. But looking at him, he came up with Kazi Mtaani. He rescued so many youth from doing so funny things actually out there. But the Kasongo guy, when he came to power, he done away. He actually abolished everything. So many of our youth, many of our comrades, actually they're actually idling, doing nothing. That's how people are angry out here. I'm speaking in while I'm in Kaka, a remote area, a remote part of Kenya. But you go to the ground, people are like, we need to get Ruto out of power. That's it. So one thing I could request actually, if look at whom you can share the same vision, not actually get Ruto out of power, but one we need is to get accountable leadership. That's all we are requiring. We need actually as a country. That's not to get Ruto out of power, but to get accountable leaders who are going to propel us to the next level. That's all actually I'm asking for. Because looking at the guys who are in power, looking at the guy, Gachagua, he will come up with his own people. Even if you are the president, you will be like a puppet president. You will actually be held by your neck. This is also to be the speaker. These are also to have this docket of finance. These are also to have the minister of actually interior. So you get crippled from the beginning. And that's how Ruto managed to cripple Uhuru during their reign, because actually he had that finance docket. So when you look at the perspective, Gachagua, on the other side, he wants Kasongo to go home. But deep down, when he accesses the power, when he gets access to the power, he's another monster. Look at the people like Maraga. I know this guy who, the former Minister of Interior, Matiang'i. We can't judge that Matiang'i was a bad guy. To me, on my point, Matiang'i is being crucified because Matiang'i was used like as a dog, a trained dog. So he was given orders, back, bite, run. So that's how Matiang'i was used. But deep down, Matiang'i is a leader. The former CJ, those guys are leaders. These Okiem Tata, those guys are leaders. Morara, you are there. We are there. There are votes. We have the votes. We are this guy. They won't believe. Actually, to be honest, they won't believe. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is a great contribution, Manyasa John. Uh, Raymond Matata.
Thank you, Mr. Morara. First, I'd love to thank those who have contributed and heard their views on. Sorry? Yes, I'm saying maybe first thing that I love to share. I've been seeing lots of comments on social media, and especially young people with this, which has now become a very famous quote that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And, you know, type kind of a statement that Gachagua is the enemy of Kenyans. Kind of a correct, Mr. Ara, when you say that you are meeting and taking pictures with one of the enemies, who is Gachagua. Gachagua is an enemy of Kenya, followed by Akina Eugene Wamala. Eugene Wamala has been in cabinet for as long as I remember. He has been mentioned in scandals. Same to Mother Karua. Same to name them. Then if you say that we have only one enemy, then that's a lie. Those people that were pictured, I don't know, maybe having discussions about how to remove maybe William Ruto. Those are the same people. It's just a game, you know. Those people are the same. So, Mr. Morara, you can't keep on telling us to be tribeless, yet you are meeting those tribal leaders like Gachagua. Gachagua is depending on his tribal votes, and is no. For me, I always feel actually I'm ashamed when you see someone saying that Gachagua is calling himself a liberator. What is he liberating? Who is he liberating? I mean, is Gachagua even a person to liberate Kenya? I mean, Gachagua is a thief like William Ruto. Gachagua is the same people like Wamala. Maybe if we
Let
were
me ask
talking
a
about
question, Raymond. Raymond,
maybe if
one
maybe
minute.
just before I finish,
Let me ask a question.
just a
I'm just
moment,
guiding. Don't worry. You have time. I just want to ask you a
okay?
question, just to guide, not even to guide, but rather for you to help me understand things better. So
Mm-hmm.
I hear you, and I hear what your thoughts are about Gachagua and his values. So I want to ask you a question. Uh, the Kenyan people, according to you, the problem in Kenya, is it the leaders or the people? Because when you look at Honorable Rigathi Gachagua and the issues that you have with Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, what about the 4 million people that support him? What are you going to do with them? Uh, how would you want them to vote otherwise, or rather, what do you think is a problem with them that they support a person who you don't think is a liberator or is in any way a person of integrity? What about those, and there were 4 million people that I've mentioned to you? And also, Looking at other cases, we have had NY Guru voting, who was voted twice after having a corruption case at NYS. We've had people with corruption cases being voted in by Wananchi. So then it begs the question whether the problem is actually the leaders or the people.
Actually, the problem is the people and the leaders. Because, for example, I've been seeing this argument mostly on social media that yes, Gachagua is not vying 2027, so he's just helping us remove William Ruto. Um, let's say, for example, Gachagua supports, I'm just giving an example. Let's say, for example, Gachagua supports Kalonzo Musyoka for presidency, and then Kalonzo Musyoka wins. What will happen? Gachagua will have shares in that government. He'll have control. He'll give names of the cabinet secretaries that he want to be appointed, and those cabinet secretaries will be there to loot for him. Will be there to make decision for Gachagua. Will be there to do everything that Gachagua wants to be done. So it means that if our aim is just to remove William Ruto, then there is nothing that we are changing. There's nothing. We are just going to the same place 2027. Then after 2027, after you vote another person, maybe we have succeeded in removing William Ruto, then we'll be in the same place, the same thieves, the same Gashagwa controlling people, the same Wamala giving cabinet slots for people, for his people, PA permanent secretaries, CEOs. The same theft will continue. Then we'll say, oh, ati shida yetu ilikuwa ile mtu na tumemtoa. That there's nothing that you have changed. Maybe it's time us people think critically and look at those people. Look at these candidates that will be vying for presidency. There are people like okay, Omtato have not heard of any scandals. People like okay, I'm not campaigning for Kalonzo Musyoka, but I think for Kalonzo Musyoka, I think the only scandal that I've heard of him of his is, I think, the Yatta land, which I'm not sure if I don't know whether that issue was concluded in ESCC. People of integrity. Then if we keep on saying that our aim is only to remove William Ruto, there's nothing that will change. It'll be the same thieves just exchanging positions and still continue with the same thing. So my as I conclude, my view is that we can't if we only say that the aim is to remove William Ruto, then we are voting another thief. We are not going anywhere. So we'll still be in the same position in 2027, 2032, and nothing will change. Thank you. Those are my submissions. Thank you, Mr. Morara.
Raymond, before you go, let me ask you a question again. I'll try to ask it in a different way so that you understand it.
Yes.
According to you, we have a problem of bad leaders. And I'm trying to challenge your thinking that actually we don't have a problem of bad leaders per se. Bad leaders are coming from bad citizens. Because you see, at the end of the day, the citizens are the employer, the leaders are the employee. So the employer determines how the employee behaves. If the employee steals money from the employer, but the employer, who is the Kenyan, does not care and actually retains that employee and even gives them a promotion, who then do you blame? Do you blame the employer or the employee? Do you blame the citizens or the people? Do you blame Gashagwa or his supporters?
Well, again, I say, you see, people really do pretend when they are campaigning, especially because, for example, you'll find someone campaigning on a platform of they're going to fight corruption. When they get to office on the first 100 days, they're going to form a commission of um, uh, state capture. And 100 days, in 100 days, there's nothing. Yet you really believed this person. So It's not easy actually. For example, maybe I just give you an example with you, Morara. Maybe you can say that you're going to really fight corruption, for example, and we really believe you. But after election, after you become a member of parliament or a senator or a president, then you become really another person. So who do we blame? Yet here, the citizen, maybe they saw you as a very good person when you're campaigning. So in this case, we can blame. In this case, if you are campaigning on a platform, we know you as a good person. You're campaigning on a platform of eliminate corruption. Then after you get elected, you change drastically. So who do we blame here? Because I think maybe the citizens in the ballot they made the right choice, but the leader, especially as we know what happens with every leader, almost every member of parliament or senator or who when they get elected they change drastically. You start questioning: is this the person who was campaigning last election? So who do we blame here? We blame the leader. For example, there are people who believed William Ruto is going to maybe make bring lots of development. I mean, and they voted for him.
Okay, let
But
me
what
ask
happened
Raymond.
after election?
Raymond, you are speaking of leaders who are coming in for the first time, and therefore they pretend to be liberators of the people. The people elect them, then they do not serve the people. But now, what then do you say about Anne Waiguru? The people of Kirinyaga already knew that there was 20 billion missing at NYS, and Anne Waiguru was at the center of it, and that she had been cited by the Public Accounts Committee in Parliament and even by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. But they went ahead and voted for this person. The people of Uasin Gishu knew that Gladys Bosholei has a corruption case at the judiciary, and it is even the reason why she left the judiciary. So they went and glorified and rubber stamped that corruption and rewarded it with the position of women rep. The people of Nyaribari Masaba in Kisii knew that Daniel Manduku has a corruption case at Kenya Ports Authority, but went ahead and voted for him as a member of parliament. So the question is not just of leaders who come and pretend, people vote for them, then they change. There are leaders who are already have a history of corruption or a history of being killers, but they are elected. Waluke had been convicted of a criminal offense, but Waluke was given a jubilee ticket, and the people of Sirisia voted for him, a convict. They voted for a convict to be their member of parliament. So, is again, let me come back to you. Is the problem the leaders or the people? Do you want to fix the leadership or to fix the people? And how do you do it anyway?
First, we fix the people. Then the secondly, we fix leadership.
How do you fix the
I
people?
think through education, like for example, this one, or even social media is also a tool for educating people. But also, again, it's not easy as maybe we may be saying here. It's not easy telling a follower of Gachagua or a follower of William Ruto such kind of things. It's not easy. But I believe in due course, maybe it may not be in 2027, maybe it might be 2032. Maybe Kenyans will change and maybe make the right decision. But for me, as at now, even 2027, I'm telling you, there's nothing. And I'm 100% sure. And God is my witness. If the way we are going, the posts that I'm seeing on social media by young people, if that's what you're going to do 2027, if the only option that you have is the sides of Raila Odinga, the sides of Gachagua, the side of William Ruto, the side of I don't know who, and there's nothing that will changing. Maybe years later, maybe 2032 or 2037, maybe things will be different. But as of 2027, my friend, there's nothing. That's my submission for now, Mr. Mora. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Raymond. You began with a lot of hope. I hope I haven't broken your hope because, sometimes when we are challenged to these questions, they tend to break our hope. But one of the things we need to ensure is that we remain hopeful and we understand the problem. The reason I'm having this conversation with you is I'm creating an understanding of the problem so that we devise a solution. Otherwise, if we only focus on the leaders, then we are reactive. But if we focus on the problem, we may just create the future that we want. So thank you for always having me as your captain. I'll never disappoint you. Linda, please speak. We've been at this is 2 hours now. We need to close it and have it another day.
Okay, cool. Hi everyone, it's been a long time. First and foremost, let me start by I think you had mentioned about money when it comes to the people who are aspiring to run office, and I guess the if they should be given money or something like that. Um, I'll just give you guys a typical example, and maybe by sharing my experience, we can borrow some of the things that we can do in this season as we grow. Basically, the political climate all over the world has kind of changed, and we're in a different season where, if you notice, everyone is going through their own hero's journey or transition. And some people may choose to allow themselves to go through that journey, and other people may not. So the ones who allow themselves will start by participating locally within their communities. So, for instance, I'll give you an example here in America. We already have people who are leaders right now, even in Kenya. So, as an individual, it's important to ask yourself what your role is within the community. Even if you're a parent, you should start getting involved locally and engaging with those particular leaders. You'll find that with time, after going to one or two volunteer events, you will know the kind of person that person is. And come elections, you will decide whether you're going to vote for that person or you'll vote for another person. But if you sit at home and wait for somebody to lead you, then you will go through the same cycle that we've been having over and over again, where we are expecting the leaders to lead and the rest of the people sit back. It's supposed to be a collective contribution whereby whoever is already in office now, you're making them do their work, or you're engaging them with whatever resources they have to bring that change. And you'll find that within that journey, you'll actually start growing as a person, and eventually you'll kind of get to know what you want to be and find yourself following your own roadmap of leadership. Secondly, when it comes to money, I'll tell you, money is a tool, but then foot soldiers sometimes always emerge victorious. You don't have to have money to have impact as a leader. I think if you humble yourself and kind of learn to move with your instinct, somehow the universe will align you to some of the destiny helpers who will carry you along the way. We tend to focus so much on money and we forget about our own selves, where we have to work on ourselves first. If you work on yourself and you know who you are, you're able to walk with that confidence and courage as a leader, and you'll start vibrating high. And somehow you will find that God will put you with strangers along the way who will carry you. They might not carry you with money, but they might carry you with a car. They might carry you with something else, resources. If I see Morara the way he has been moving, first he started by giving himself out, or his services or passion out towards the community without asking for money. And when he did that, when you serve, somehow it comes back to you in a different form. And people reciprocated and decided now to contribute money towards, whatever he's doing. But if I look at Morara and the different places that he has gone, all those places he's visiting, he's on his own personal journey where he's being guided by the divine forces to go to those other places, and he's growing himself in the process. Whether he self-funded himself or, he didn't have money at that time, he still allowed himself to grow by stepping out of his comfort zone to go wherever he was going. So fast forward, if you're a spectator and you decide not to do anything, you will never grow. But the moment you make that decision, you'll find that revelations will start coming into your life where now your journey might change or your story might be rewritten to something else, and you end up getting to where you want to be. And then I guess the last thing, because I know we don't have so much time, um, I guess everyone has a gift. I think I put notes here while people were talking. Um, Everyone has a gift, and I guess I talked about the roadmap where each and everyone has to come up with their own personal development journey, and then things will just align themselves. Because we keep thinking about 2027, and 2027 is so far away. Between right now and 2027, trust me, there's so many people who are going through their own transition and families. And you'll find that we might be surprised that in 2027, somebody else might just emerge from somewhere and run last minute. So we should not be worried about the money that is being handed out by the politicians. If you focus on yourself and do the little bits you can do, somehow things will just start aligning themselves, and eventually you will see who is going to emerge as the leaders. These are the older generation. They're kind of like long gone. By the time 2027 will reach, people will be exhausted because the kind of tribulation we are going to go through between now and 2027, it's rough. Some of us have gone through tougher situations that is molding us. So as we go through the journey, things will just fall into place. So let's not be worried about, oh, let's do this in a collective effort, like, in a group effort. It's up to each and everyone to embark on their journey, and you guys will just see like things will just fall in place. And you might be surprised that whoever might run presidency, even in the end, it could be a millennial. Don't be surprised. I'm just saying, based on the journeys and how transition happens based on your family bloodline and aspirations. So we put too much on the leaders. Let's put it on ourselves, where we are growing ourselves and doing something different. It doesn't have to be money, but then call that MCA and ask the MCA, what are you getting involved in this season? What is your vision? And then you support that MCA. That is how you'll know whether those leaders are leading or they are not leading, and things will work. So that's how we do it in America here. And for me, I've been able to go through like different journeys where I'm kind of learning different departments of the government. Eventually, I don't know what I'm going to be. Sometimes I tell myself, oh my God, I feel this force where I might run for presidency. Who knows? But then at the same time, I'm like, no, 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 that's not what I want it to be. I want to be this. So it's like everyone should allow themselves to just transition in this journey. And then we'll see what happens in 2027. Follow your instinct and execute. Don't be afraid. I think that's all I can say um, for now.
Wow,
I hope
wow,
that makes
wow,
sense.
wow. Thank you so much, Linda. Your 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 advice is invaluable. Your advice is absolutely invaluable, yani extremely valuable, and it's something that we have all had something to reflect upon, to improve ourselves, to make ourselves more, you know, better as the days go by. We have a long journey to 2027, and there's going to be a lot of economic pain between now and 2027. So you never know. Probably we are talking about a government that may not even reach 2027. Probably the people will feel too much pain somewhere in the middle and something disruptive will happen. But I want to thank everybody that came for this space. Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for listening in. I know not everybody got an opportunity to speak. I'll be doing a space every single week. So we'll have more opportunities like this to always have a conversation so that more people can have opportunities to express themselves. So then we tackle this difficult question of leadership. To those who are looking up to me now that I've joined the opposition coalition, I just want to let you know that opposition is yours. Come and change it. Come and show people how things should be done. If it is Gachagua you have a problem with, do not shy away. Just walk into the room, tell His Excellency Gachagua that this is not how we want it done as agencies of Kenya. This is how we'd like it done. Sometimes leadership is all about you stepping into the room with confidence and showing the alternative solution. Complaining will not take us anywhere. We need to be the solution builders, and solutions are not built by noise, they're built in the room where they are discussed. I will ensure that I'm a leader of integrity, that I never disappoint you, that I uphold values and principles that we stand for together, and that we'll walk this journey together. And since I represent you in the opposition, any other issues that as young people we have, always make sure that they are communicated to me so that I don't miss them. I'll properly represent you and I'll not embarrass you. The opposition is yours. You are the opposition as the young people of Kenya, and therefore walking there knowing that you own this. Anybody that you don't like their characters and values, as I've said, come and show them how we want Kenya to be led. And then individual accountability will come for every single person based on what they did. Thank you and God bless you guys. Tutaonana tena wakati mwingine, asanteni.